Famous American actor that you probably know from Rocky, Sylvester Stallone, age 76, and former American professional boxer and legend Mike Tyson, age 56, as well as other stars, were present at the emotional farewell of a UFC legend. This legend decided to retire after losing a contest. What are the best moments of Frankie Edgar? Watch this video to the end for details on these. What are the top 10 moments of Frankie Edgar in the UFC's octagon? Starting from the bottom, we have Frankie Edgar vs. Charles Oliveira. Edgar faced Charles Oliveira in his second professional featherweight match. Edgar out-wrestled Oliveira in the fight and thwarted all attempts at submission, which helped him win by unanimous decision thanks to his time spent in the top position and the powerful blows he delivered. Both men received Fight of the Night bonuses for their back-and-forth battle, which also resulted in a 2013 Fight of the Year runner-up. Oliveira became the lightweight champion and one of the finest to ever compete in the sport thanks to this victory, which has matured for Edgar like a beautiful wine. The ninth top moment was Frankie Edgar's fight against Tyson Griffin. When he made his UFC debut in 2007 against Tyson Griffin, Edgar impressed the crowd right away. The two wrestlers engaged in a battle and constantly scored takedowns, but neither man was able to keep the other on the ground, so the match was heavily dominated by stand-up battles. Despite the difficulty in rounds 1 and 3, Edgar controlled the majority of the battle. After taking a heavy blow in the opening round, Edgar managed to recover and go on to win. Edgar won the third and final round, although in the dying moments he was caught in a leg lock and just made it to the final bell. Next, we have Edgar's first fight against Swanson. In the main contest of the UFC Fight Night, Edgar vs. Swanson at the end of 2014, Edgar faced up against Swanson. Swanson's punching was neutralized by Edgar's takedowns and wrestling, and from the top, he delivered powerful punches and elbows. After a lopsided beating, it appeared that Edgar would win the fight by unanimous decision until he sunk a neck crank submission and forced the tap with 4 seconds left. The victory over Jose Aldo gave Edgar his first performance of the night bonus and placed him on the right track for a rematch for the featherweight championship. Next, we have Frankie Edgar's fight against Yair Rodriguez. After Yair Rodriguez called Edgar out, Edgar and Rodriguez faced off in the octagon on the main card of UFC 211 in 2017. With a record of 6-0 in the UFC, Rodriguez was a rising star, scoring amazing flying kick knockouts and appearing unbeatable. Rodriguez was accompanied by a big hype train, which came to an end after he was defeated by Frankie Edgar. Edgar had the upper hand throughout the first round, knocking him to the ground and applying punishing ground and pound that caused Rodriguez's left eye to swell shut. In round 2, Edgar applied the same strategy, leaving Rodriguez covered in blood and unable to see out of his left side. When the round was over and Rodriguez went back to his corner, the medical staff took one look at him and told the referee to stop the bout, giving Edgar the win through TKO. In 6th place, we have his match against Chad Mendes. When Edgar faced Chad Mendes as the main event of the Ultimate Fighter 22 finale to end 2015, one of his best knockouts of his career occurred. In the lead up to the fight, it was mentioned how strong Mendes was and how he would probably pull off his own knockout. When Edgar toppled Mendes in round 1 with a left hook and then used ground and pound to finish the fight, he disproved all of the naysayers. Edgar won this match, earning a Performance of the Night bonus and a title opportunity against Jose Aldo in his upcoming match. Frankie Edgar's third match against BJ Penn comes in 5th on the list. After serving as coaches for the Ultimate Fighter 19 together, Frankie Edgar engaged BJ Penn for the third time. In a rare triptych that was the conclusion, Edgar was leading his opponent going into their third encounter 2-0. Penn made his featherweight debut with the goal of eventually becoming the first 3-weight UFC champion after winning titles at lightweight and welterweight initially. These hopes were dashed when Edgar defeated Penn in a dominant, decisive manner to complete their trilogy by scoring a TKO in the 3rd round after dominating Penn for 3 rounds. Just outside the top 3, we have Edgar's third match against Maynard. A third and final fight between the two was scheduled for the end of the same year after their second fight in 2011 ended in a close split draw. Once more, this fight was hotly contested going into the final rounds. A big uppercut from Edgar off a takedown attempt rocked Maynard this time, however, and he sprinted in for the finish. With 1 minute remaining in the 4th round, the referee called time on the fight, awarding Edgar his first knockout of the night bonus and his second successful title defense. Now, we are at the top 3 moments of Frankie Edgar. The third best moment was Edgar's first match against BJ Penn. Frankie Edgar and BJ Penn battled it out for the lightweight championship in the co-main event of UFC 112, Silva vs. Maia. With Edgar finishing in a plus 620 betting underdog versus the champion, this bout featured one of the biggest upsets to date. Edgar started out strongly in the fight, gaining takedowns and applying pressure to Penn. Penn didn't appear to have an answer for Edgar and was taken aback by his skills. In a stunning upset, Edgar would triumph on all three judges' scorecards and claim the lightweight championship. Even though it was a close call, I support the judges' decision to award Edgar the victory. The runner-up is Edgar's second fight against Maynard. Maynard and Frankie Edgar fought again, this time in a rematch that had been in the works for 3 years. Gray had won their previous encounter by unanimous decision. This time, Edgar was the reigning lightweight champion after defeating the previous title holder, Penn, twice in a row. After almost being defeated in the first round, all three judges had Edgar losing the rematch 10-8. However, Edgar persevered and fought back to win round 2 by a unanimous decision. Most viewers weren't sure who had won as the fight went on because it was back and forth for the rest of it. By the time the war was ended, one of 3 outcomes, a win for Edgar, a win for Maynard, or a draw, could have occurred. Even one of the judges could not agree, as one gave the decision 48-46 to Maynard, one 48-46 to Edgar, and one a 47-47 draw, resulting in a split decision in which Edgar kept the belt. One of the best matches in the history of the sport, this one won both Fight of the Night and Fight of the Year awards in 2011. The best moment of Edgar's career happened when he fought Penn for the second time. A rematch with the reigning champion, Penn, was immediately scheduled after Edgar's first championship defense in his professional career. The fans wanted to see if Edgar was the real deal after a significant shock victory to win the title, and given that Penn had recently surpassed the record for the most title defenses at lightweight, a rematch was unavoidable. The second fight was much closer than the first, with all judges awarding Edgar a unanimous decision victory thanks to his takedowns and striking with a score of 50-45. Edgar's victory made him the legitimate lightweight champion and put to rest any naysayers. UFC legends tranquil farewell seen by Sylvester Stallone, Mike Tyson, and other stars. The fight card for UFC 281 was arguably the most anticipated of the year. It included 2 title fights, 1 rivalry match, and most importantly, a fight between Frankie Edgar and Chris Gutierrez. The UFC legend who had to hang up his gloves after falling to Gutierrez in the first round of the bantamweight competition. Sylvester Stallone and boxing icon Mike Tyson were present at the heartbreaking farewell of the UFC veteran at Madison Square Garden in New York City. A black printed denim shirt and matching slacks were worn by the previous 6-time champion. He entered the changing room and spoke with the night's competitors before taking his sheet and entering the arena. The UFC gave Iron Mike a big welcome by screening him and introducing him as a legend in the home. They demonstrated their appreciation for the legend. Following Tyson's appearance, renowned action star Sylvester Stallone was spotted by the crowd. On-screen heavyweight champion came up with his to take in the contest. He was wearing blue jeans and a black t-shirt. A tweet from a fan showed them praising Rocky's appearance at the arena, quote, "He's a wrecking machine, Rocky," the UFC Europe said alongside a footage. Edgar would never have imagined that his career would finish in this way. He declared that this would be his final MMA match before entering the octagon, but he didn't quite make an impression when he met Gutierrez. The legend was knocked out at 2 minutes 1 second of the first round by Gutierrez's devastating knee. Now he will end his career with a 24-11 record. After the defeat, Joe Rogan briefly spoke with Edgar and asked him a number of questions. Edgar responded saying that he adores this sport and he didn't want to leave in this manner. Which match of Frankie Edgar would you say was your best? Also, what other athlete do you want us to feature? Let us know down in the comment section. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.